everyone, it's Janet Wakeland here with Remarkably Created, and in today's video we are going to take a look at making a gift card holder for Father's Day. This is that time of the week where you're starting to go, oh my gosh, I need some cards, oh my gosh, Father's Day's on Sunday, I'm not ready. And I want to show you something that doesn't necessarily have to use something that's stereotypical for fathers in terms of stamps and products that you might have, but simply just makes a cute little shirt. What you're going to need is you're going to need a designer piece of paper, 6 by 12 inches. I like to have a little ruler, and you'll see why in a minute. A bone folder is essential. And then some type of tool that can do some scoring for you, whether you're just going to use the ruler and your bone folder, you're going to use something like a score pal. Stampin' Up's trimmer for me is the handiest and the most easiest to use, or again, just the good old-fashioned ruler and bone folder. Because the bone folder is so essential to this project and any type of scoring project, I have 2 to give away, so simply like, comment, engage with this, share all of those good things, and tomorrow I will announce 2 winners for the brand new bone folders, and they'll be mailed to you. So this is the sweet little shirt, and it does open up. You have some cardstock for your message. And then it does easily hold a gift card right here. You could also put cash in there. Cash is always even more fun than a gift card. So you could put cash, gift card. If you didn't want to do that, you could put a hidden message. You could even put like some type of flat type of chocolate like a Ghirardelli or something like that. And then it tucks up under the collar, and you're going to see my tips for sealing it in just a few moments. To embellish this one, I just created a simple pocket and then put like a little, kind of like a lapel, like a zipper kind of looking thing down the front of it. So let's take a look at the basics of making it. Then I'm going to show you some alternative sizes. I'm going to show you some finished samples, and I'm going to show you some alternative ideas besides a gift card holder. So lots to get to, guys. So let's jump right in. I have a piece of designer paper. It just so happens to be the Let's Go Fishing, but I just liked this kind of blue woodsy look, and so that's why I picked this paper. You're going to see different samples later as we finish making our template to show you just how the different colors, as you already saw here, can really impact that finished look that you're going for, and can also really help you kind of personalize a shirt. Maybe you have a dad that kind of likes to wear graphic tees, likes to wear more of a polo. Maybe you do have a dad that wears suits and ties every day and you want a tie. Maybe you want like a tropical print for somebody that's retired, but the print can really make a difference. Now, when it comes to scoring, it doesn't matter if you score on either side, okay? The side up part will come when we're folding, but when it comes to scoring, that part doesn't matter. So we're going to start first, and let's make sure our cutting blade's out of the way. And 6 inches across, 12 inches lengthwise. So we're scoring across the 6-inch side, making a nice long 12-inch crease. So we're going to start at 1.5. And I love, with Stampin' Up's trimmer, you've got lines the whole way down to help you really keep your lines nice and straight. So, and then you're just going to hold on to that. And we'll score it at 1.5. You're going to then slide your paper over to 3 inches. And you're going to go ahead and score at 3 inches. And then at 4.5 inches. So what you have is you have a piece that is 6 inches by 12 inches. You've scored it at 1.5, at 3 inches, and at 4.5 inches. And I'll post the dimensions for you. So we can set our trimmer aside until we do some of our alternative sizes. And I'm going to flip it over. I want this to be my shirt. I want this to be the sleeves, the collar, the front of it. I want this to be the everything. The inside does not show until the card is open. Let me bring this one back in for just a second. The only time you get a little peek of the print is right here. And if you didn't want any of that to show, you could actually cut cardstock and cover all of that if you wanted to. But that's the only time you actually get a little bit of a peek. So I really didn't get hung up on what this side looks like. And the only time I worry about the directionality of the print is what I have on this side. And I'll show you about that in a minute. So you're gonna find your score lines and you're gonna give yourself a nice score on the two that, oops, what the heck did I do here? Talking while I was doing it with you guys. Hang on just a second. Oh, let me put this back at 1.5. It's a good thing it's just the template for you guys. Talking and scoring at the same time is definitely something that is challenging. So there we go. So now I've got my two nice score lines coming in. This score line that you made at 3 inches is just to help you find the center, okay? You're not gonna add an extra crease to it or anything like that. So I've got my creases. I'm gonna work from one end and at approximately 2 inches to 2.5 inches. And if you wanna lay a ruler down just to kind of guide you a little bit, you're just gonna fold the paper out. And then I like to put my finger so I know I'm matching it up. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side and give those a crease. This is actually going to be your sleeves. So between 2 inches and 2.5 inches, it's approximate. And once you do a few of these, trust me, you won't need your ruler, you won't need to measure. Then you're gonna flip it over. So you've got this, and let me keep it in the camera for you. 12 inches sometimes, I should have moved the camera up a little higher, but it's that craziness between wanting to show you all of it, but also close-ups. And then just about 1/2 inch. You don't want more than that because you'll have a really, really tall collar and it looks kind of odd. And I will show you why you don't want a tall one, okay? So let's go ahead and give that a good crease. And now we're going to flip it back around. Flip it back around. Your fold is back here on that back side. Flip it back around. And now you're gonna bring this to the center, but not a total square fold. You wanna bring it in at an angle. Can you see that? I didn't bring it in flush. I didn't bring it in like this, flat. I brought it in at an angle. This is going to be your collar. And again, it's gonna start to get a little thick on you, so just really, really give it those good presses with your bone folder. And then you're gonna bring this piece and this flap, you're gonna bring this piece right up and under and just hold it down and then just flatten it out. Give it a nice crease. And then I like to stick it back in my score tool and I'm gonna put it at the 1/2 inch mark and I'm going to give it a good couple of creases. So I've put it back in my trimmer and I've given it a 1/2 inch. If you don't have the trimmer, you can lay your ruler down and you can give it a good score. If you're working with a score pal, again, a 1/2 inch. Open this up and give those score lines that are now on either side of the center fold a good crease. So you've got the center fold and 2 lines on either side. Push the center fold to the inside so that you have that W. And now you have your card just that simple and easy, ready to decorate, ready to put a card on the inside. I didn't give you the exact dimensions. It's a little bit less than 3 inches, so it's kind of like 2 3/4 by like, I don't know, 3 something. It just depends on, when you get here. So in this case, it's about 2 3/4 by about 3 3/4. 2 3/4 by about 3 3/4. The reason being is because sometimes you may make your folds a little bigger or anything. So you just want to cut a piece of nice paper that's going to fit in here and be contrasted. And that will be a great place for your message to be. And let me bring this one back in for just a second. You can see here how I cut that piece. Now, after you've added your gift card and you've added your message, you want to seal this. And one of the easiest and best ways to do that, because you want them to be able to open it but maybe not destroy it while they're opening it, is to simply take some glue dots, and right here under the corner of the collar you can add a glue dot, and then you can do the same thing here, and if you want to you could also add just a little glue dot under each one of these two flaps, but that makes it pretty easy to pull apart without totally destroying it, okay? So this is what one looks like that is 6 by 12 inches. But maybe you want a slightly different size. Here we used a piece of paper that was 4 by 6 inches. And I want to just show you a little way to cheat, okay? So you have a paper that is 4 by 8 inches. So that's the next one, is 4 by 8 inches. So 4 by 8. Half of 4 by 8 is 2. So we're just going to score at 2. And if you didn't want to try to figure out which numbers to mark at here, really all we're doing is we're bringing that outside piece to the center fold. So you could actually skip measuring if you really wanted to. That's exactly what we did on the 6 by 12, is we're just bringing it in to the center section. So that's where that center crease helps you at least know where that's at. And then the other size is 3 by 6. Half of 3 inches is 1.5. So we would score this one at 1.5 inches. And then we would do the same thing, just bringing that into that center fold. If you really wanted to know numbers and be detailed, you could measure that out, and I can give you those measurements. But literally, the cheat way, even on the 6 by 12, is center score, fold your 2 outline flaps to that center crease, and that's the basis to start with. Now, you're not going to necessarily want to do 2 inches, but you just kind of want to give yourself some nice sleeves. Fold it over and you can see your sleeves here. Again, no more than 1/2 inch, guys. And I'm not creasing these down real quick. I'm just kind of going through the motions just to show you the different sizes. So let's just put this together real quick. We'll come back and crease it all down. But I want you to see the 3 sizes all together because they are fun and cute. Let's do this so it will stay a little flatter for us. So 6 by 12. Here we've got 4 by 8. And then our last one is 3 by 6. What you want is, if this is whatever number the width is, you want the length to be twice that, okay? So you could actually play around with other dimensions as well. The fun thing about doing this little itty bitty 3 by 6 is you could get 6 of these from one sheet of 12 by 12 paper, and you could have the cutest, darndest little party favors, cupcake toppers and things like that. So look at those fun 3 different sizes, guys, if we line them all up. Aren't those fun? So let's take a minute to look at some ways of decorating them and some ways of, and the difference like I mentioned. So here, look at this collar. Look how high that is. That's just kind of crazy, isn't it? So look at how nice it is when it's a little smaller than that. When you don't make it, you know, this is almost an inch. You definitely want that 1/2 inch crease. It's gonna look, I think, nicer, but there's definitely also nothing wrong with that. It just kind of starts to look a little bit, sorry about that, guys, I got something in my eye. A little bit almost like a turtleneck on top of a shirt. So, but look at the prints. I'm just gonna lay some prints out here for you so that you can see just how the prints change everything. So you've got some different prints. Now, again, here we just use the really bold print. Again, maybe, like I said, you've got a father who likes loud print shirts, likes graphic tees. And so in this case, I put a greeting on the center of it as if it was a graphic tee, and just used our really fun space paper. Super Fantastic Mega Dad kind of goes with the space feel for me, so that was just a very simple way to decorate that one. This one here, I actually created suspenders, and the way that I did that was just with a thin strip. This is a very small tag for the little clips, and then we've got some tiny little embellishments used as buttons. A little bonus tip for you: if you don't have a color that you wanted, in this case I didn't have Night of Navy, you can use your blends. They work a lot like Sharpie markers, and you can alter your embellishments. If you ever have a blend where the tips get kind of smushed and you're tempted to throw them out, there's a lot of ink in them. Don't throw them out. Use them for crafty stuff like this instead. So you can create that, and that's what I did on this one, was kind of creating the look of suspenders. For this one here, you'll see that I created a pocket, and the way that I did that is I just have a rectangle piece, and I used a circle and took just a little knob out of that. You'll see a pocket on the next one in just a minute as well too. And then that created the pocket for me. These are just 2 strips. I look at this one and it makes me think of a bowling shirt. And so I think you could have a lot of fun creating a bowling shirt. They don't have to be just for guys. Here I've got a little bit of scallop happening. I added just a little bit of a split right here and a little piece down the front. So you can definitely add some frills and things to it to have a little bit of fun with them. Any of you that still have the suits and ties die that Stampin' Up! Used to carry, that would be something you could add a bow tie, you could add a tie. There's a lot of templates for things like that online as well. The smaller size is perfect for a little tag on a gift bag, and I just used a small little clip that I had handy to clip that on. Here is another one. This is the one that we will actually be using for our dad this weekend as we celebrate Doug on Sunday. Created a pocket, just put some greetings in the pocket to my dad, wonderful, best ever. And then this will have some fun stuff inside. In addition, this is the gift bag. As crafters, I'm sure that many of you have a button jar. I know I have a button jar. I love my button jar. And just look for some buttons that you might have in your jar, and those would be great to add on. Just added the greeting. This was a handled crumb cake bag. I cut the handles off because they just kind of interfered with the look that I was going for. And then for the cake that we will have on Sunday, this will be the topper that will go on the cake on Sunday. Just made 3 of the really little ones using 3x6 paper, our alphabet dies, and I used, let me hold them up so you can see them up close. This is the tag from the Nested Essentials, and I just thought it created a little bit of a contrast, and I liked that it kept the points going with all of the points on the shirt. So just a fun way that you can use all of the elements. And then if we come back to this one here for just a second, let me pull this out for just a second. The other thing that you can do is just simply put a little hole, and all I did was use the pointy end of the dowel to poke a hole and put that down inside. And now you could put that on top of it, stick that into a cake, make sure it's all sealed up, but stick that down into a cake. The smaller ones could be stuck into cupcakes. So you can definitely use them for more than that. Maybe you put a small piece of candy inside of them if you're putting them on top of cupcakes, and they'll have a little piece of candy along with the cupcake, because you can never have enough sugar, right? And then for this one, I actually cut the collar off. So when I got this far, I ran the scissors straight across. I just cut this off, okay? And sorry about that. But anyway, I just sealed it all up, and then just have a card that slides out. This to me looked like a little house coat, looked like a little pajama coat, little robe or something like that. So I'll put something spa related on the inside of that one. So again, you can seal it all up and then just have your gift card, your message pull out from the inside of it by taking, let's take one that we're not going to use. Let's take this one. So I got this far with it, and I simply came in with scissors and cut across, got rid of that collar and sealed it down. Now, you don't need this part if you're going to seal it down. Okay, you don't need to create that V. You also don't need to create that V that allows it to be self-standing on the mantle when you're doing gift tags, when you're doing pokes for cakes and cupcakes and things like that. The only time that it's nice to have that little V is when you're turning it into a gift card holder, because then it also stands on a desk or something like that. The other reason why you do that little V is by doing that little V, it shortens it down to be small enough to fit into a standard A2 card. So that's the benefit of adding a V to your gift card holder so that it fits in a standard envelope. So a couple of little tips for you again, but basically you're starting with 4x6, 6x12, 4x8, or 3x6, and you'll have some wonderful fun things that you can be doing with your paper and just kind of playing around with it. So much fun, guys. I'll post finished pictures of my projects and our use of them on Sunday after Father's Day is over. But this is kind of our sweet little Father's Day collection and tribute that we'll be using on Sunday. Thanks, guys.